That was the new intro for the DFG podcast, and this is, I don't know, I should probably still go, hello and welcome to the DFG podcast. My name is Sean. Jeremy says the one and only Mr. Binky, Lucas Petridis, Mr. LP, Real Lucas P, Lucas!
What to do, baby? You're still calling me Mr. Binky a few years after that Twitter handle. My Twitter account was deactivated and not of my own accord.
Oh, what the hell did you do?
Banned off the internet. IP address flagged once again.
It is the eve before NBA free agency, and we have plenty to dig into. This is the first time we've recorded, well, the network, the NBA side of the network has recorded since Giannis Antetokounmpo was traded to the Miami Heat. Mere hours ago, Ja Morant was traded to the Portland Trail Blazers. We're also going to talk about LaMelo Ball. LeBron James, one of arguably the greatest players of all time, might change teams, and he might change teams to one of our favourite teams. Stay tuned to find out whether it's Washington or Golden State. There's so much to talk about. The whole Jalen Duren of it all. We just have websites open. We don't really have a run sheet, a traditional run sheet, as you might know it, open. We are just talking news, and we were just. It's shop. We're talking shop. Before we get underway, is there anything you want to say? You want to get off your chest for the World Wide Web?
No, I've just been toggling a lot of apps lately. A lot of websites such as RealGM. That's probably gotten the bulk of my laptop screen time over the last week. And there's just been so much news. I feel like there isn't usually this much. That has happened on the eve of free agency. Think about, we're going to get to Giannis, Ja, and LaMelo. Those are pretty huge moves to the organizations they're leaving, because they were their guys, They were supposed to be the players that led them to however far any of those teams could go. But yeah, I think the news is coming faster than I thought it would.
It's also because as part of the new CBA, it's now legal to re-sign players a week before free agency opens, or a number of days. I should actually have that number in front of me. So we're sort of getting info. This hasn't really come into play with any of the guys that we're talking about, like LaMelo's under contract for 4 more years. These guys are under contract, but Landry Shamet signing a deal this morning is 3 for 24. Kristaps Porzingis 2 for 40 just a couple of hours ago. Those deals can get signed early as part of the new CBA, where you can re-sign your own free agents in Adam Silver's quest to stop player movement, despite forcing players to just get moved for smaller offers. So that is playing into it a bit, where you can re-sign your own guys, and if you're having those conversations a week before you quote legally can, then you're going to know whether first of all, if they've signed the dotted line, or second of all, if you're the Knicks and Landry Shamet's no, I'm holding out for $60 million a year, then the Knicks are probably going to be okay, well, we're just going to trade for a shooting guard, or we're going to get our names into the rumors to sign another shooting guard. So that's also leading to the big news dumps, but also it's just outside of that sort of stuff, it is just pretty freaking big. There's some stuff that you can't even point to the CBA for doing it, we haven't even mentioned Julius Randle for Nicholas Claxton.
And why would you?
Seriously. Let's tip it off with the most recent news. The Portland Trail Blazers acquiring Ja Morant. This is a very weird trade. This is I want to relate it a little bit to the Trae Young deal, where it's you're trading a guy who's good on a giant salary, whose best days might be behind him, small point guard. He's got a lot more off-court issues than Trae Young, and he's just been traded for the worst matching salary possible. So it's Jeremy Grant is the biggest salary who can financially work here, but you're not really giving up much. Jeremy Grant, on the wrong side of 30, few injury issues, and then the prospect, in quotes, is Chris Murray, who I don't think is very good, but maybe he's worth a look on a Washington, on a Memphis team that is just going to give a lot of guys looks. They now have 3-point guards, 4 if you count Scoot Henderson. They've got Damian Lillard, who's coming back after a season-ending injury, and Drew Holiday, but we're assuming that Drew Holiday's on the move. But more on that later. What do you think about Ja Morant just going to Portland, Lucas?
Yeah, I actually don't really know what I think about it. I think the deal is, it seems like both teams are kind of saving something. I want to say saving money. It just feels like both teams are kind of, it feels like both teams are offloading. The Grizzlies have just kind of completed this destruction of their team. It feels like kind of quietly. It felt like it didn't really happen like a friggin' smash bang. Like,
yeah, it wasn't a fire sale.
It wasn't a fire sale. Who did that recently?
Utah?
I'm actually thinking of the Minnesota Lynx in the WNBA.
Yeah.
After they found out that their star player was going to be injured, they were like, "Oh, let's get rid of all of our starters." But yeah, with Memphis, it happened end of this time last year, middle of the season, and then now.
Yeah, well, Desmond Bain getting 4 picks for him, pretty good.
Yeah. And then however many picks they got for Triple J, which I can't recall. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good reroute. They leave it as well with Cam Boozer, who knows how good he'll be. But it feels like they do have a prospect that they can like sell themselves on and build around and build alongside of. So I think it's is the Grizzlies had to do it. If Chris Murray can turn out to be a 16-minute per night player and a role player, or who knows, it could seriously be anything, then I think that's the value that the Grizzlies add. And then Jeremy Grant, who would have thought, like, of all the trades that he got mentioned in, where the view of it was kind of like, oh, we're going to bring in Jeremy Grant as our like 4th starter to be like a good 3-and-D role player and an experienced vet piece. He's actually just the matching salary. And yeah, could the Blazers have gotten a little bit more from him? I guess bringing in it's a bit unknown still, I think. But it could end up being like, oh, imagine if he gets back to like 20 points, 8 assists. Like, you'd absolutely take that as Portland.
Yeah. Also, Jeremy Grant, he's going to turn 32 in the next basketball season, 33 next basketball season. Like, he's still a highly productive guy, but it's like he's not going to be I don't think he's that final piece, especially he's like in the early 30s for the next 2 years. Whoa, do you reckon that came up on the mic? Yeah, it's sort of just a look. Like it's just like Trae Young, right? Where it's like a really low value acquisition. It's like you're bringing him in for nothing.
Didn't think that would come up.
Yeah, definitely unscrew the lid and give it a big slurp.
You're right.
But this is, I think, Ja Morant was potentially going to go here, Sacramento or Miami. Miami re-signed Andrew Wiggins this morning for $64 million, which I think is a great value deal. They, I would say, are out of big game hunting after they got Giannis. This is like, okay, Andrew Wiggins is their starting 3. Their starting point guard is going to be Davion Mitchell or a minimum guy. It's going to be Colin Sexton or Mike Conley. They're 2 names that they were involved in. But for the Blazers, I think they're definitely not done, and we're going to have to look at what their team looks like after they make their next deal, whether that's for Anthony Davis or Jaylen Brown. There was a report hours ago that they're out of the Jaylen Brown sweepstakes, and I think that's probably good in terms of their spacing, because the big knock on them when they made the playoffs, they were a good 8th seed, they were a good 7th seed. They lost to the San Antonio Spurs, who went on to make the finals. That's fine. They stole a game or 2, which is quite good, but Denny Avdia is a very good basketball player, and it's clear that he needs to work in space, and they just didn't have any space for him. And San Antonio obviously have that tall guy, and so they can cheat a little bit on defense, but every team's just going to be like, okay, well, we're going to keep our center in the paint because Donovan Clingan can't really shoot at all, and you're not worried about him being a dump-off threat, especially if you can just like squeeze in between that area of Denny driving to the paint and Donovan Clingan trying to sneak in backdoor. They need spacing, and they need it in a bad way, and Ja Morant does not provide that whatsoever. Ja Morant is going to be working in the exact same spaces that Denny Avdia is working in, and neither of them can really space for the other. And they're going to bring back Damian Lillard, who, he won the 3-point contest last year, but like, how good is he going to look? How explosive is he going to be? Is he going to be happy running around off ball just to space the floor for 2 guys he probably thinks he's better than? And who's starting at the 3 for this team?
Would that not be Denny, or is he at the 4?
Denny, I mean, spacing-wise, you want to put him at the 4 and have an elite shooter at the 3 because it's just easy. Well, it's just easier to get shooting 3s than it is shooting 4s. Or are they going to get involved in like a Miles Turner deal here. Like it's
interesting. I feel like the Blazers kind of organizationally were like, all right, let's compete now. Let's start to compete. And the way they've constructed the roster is just like, whoever's out there on the market, that's just who we'll go and find and get and try and get maybe good value on. Yeah, I think Dame has to start. But I mean,
sorry, the guy I didn't mention was Tumani Kamara, who is probably a 4 because of his shooting limitations, and backing him up is Matisse Thybulle.
There you go, known shooter. At this stage of their careers, Drew, I think, is better overall than Dame Lillard, but Dame might have like the slight advantage as a 3-point shooter. I did do a Drew Dame comparison because I thought I wanted to do it after their careers had ended. Dame's numbers are clearly better, but Drew has got 2 championships, one of which he won with Giannis at the Bucks, and then he got traded away. And then he went to the Celtics after that, right? And then won the next championship that year. Then I looked at them head to head in the playoffs because they had that one series where Drew completely locked up Dame. He outscored him by 10 points. That was actually not what I was looking for. Sorry, that's not why I brought that up. I brought that up because they shoot the same percentage from 3.
Wow.
Over their careers, they both shoot 37% from 3.
I mean, obviously attempts is going to be a huge thing there, but that is shocking.
It is a huge thing. Dame is on a little under twice the volume. But yeah, I just think, and also it's 2026 Dame and 2026 Drew. Yeah. And Drew is aging pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think in terms of what the books are looking like, Drew is on 3 times as much money. Dame probably is, if you're just looking at pure shooting, I mean, he is the 3-point champion for a reason. So yeah, I think that's the look in there. And then, I think Drew is on the table, obviously. I think that's probably going to be a move that gets made. I really wanted the Wizards to go after him if we were going to bring in any of those players that we have been linked to.
I think if an Anthony Davis deal happens and you do get Drew Holiday, I think you're probably going to reroute him. I think you've just got too many guards and too many guys who you need to just have a look at and how they play. And if you could just reroute him to another team, pick up a couple of seconds here or there, or just bring in just another guy who's just going to be a rotation piece, so you can actually have a look at AJ DeBanza. But if he is going to be the veteran, you would much rather him than Anthony Davis or whoever it else might be.
Or Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to a few Wizards podcasts today, and they were all talking about how the Wizards' signal is to compete, and I was like, why don't we just bring in Jimmy and we don't have to worry about his money in a year? But then, he'll probably return in Jan or Feb or whenever it is. But of all those players, back to Drew, he is exactly who you want to bring in. That's like, what he's going to do, you know what he's going to bring. He doesn't really falter. He brings it, like he brought it to Portland, man. Yeah. Like he was doing it in Milwaukee and Boston, and then he just did the same thing. He raised the floor of that team. And I honestly think if you lose a guy like that, I think it's going to absolutely impact like how, this team's floor and like who is going to be that reliable piece that fills in around the edges and then also can just be relied on to score like when called upon. But yeah, where do you reckon he ends up?
I will have to see what happens. I honestly can't tell you. Like, I mean, Anthony Davis, goes to Washington, and then we'll just have to see what the market looks like. Are you going to buy him out, and all of a sudden he's going to be like the best guy to go to Minnesota or Miami? Because it doesn't really matter for you guys, right? Like, if you just like eat his money for a year, you have no cap space aspirations. You've obviously just spent $50 million on Trae Young. Well, I can't answer that question right now. I think you just have to wait and see. Do you want to move? Sorry, it is worth mentioning Tom Dundon, the cheapest owner of all time in a matter of 9 months for the Portland Trailblazers, bringing in Mike Inori in a contract year Mike Inori, having to put together this team that is, if I was a NBA basketball coach, I wouldn't want to coach this team with absolutely no spacing.
Yeah. Also, what's the deal with Mike Nori's contract? It's like all the other head coaches are like worried about it, setting like a bad precedent.
Yeah, so you know how the whole thing with coaches that they don't want to be on an expiring contract. It's like, hey, I can't command a locker room on an expiring contract. When you sign a new deal, usually in the NBA you're signing a 3-year deal, and that could be a 2+1 or a 3+1, but 3-year deal has been sort of the expectation. They put Chauncey Billups on leave, and now he's being investigated by the FBI for collusion with gambling, which is that's separate, right? They brought in Tiago Splitter. Tiago Splitter did a good job. He was the assistant. He came in and he made the playoffs with this team, which is awesome. He did an incredible job. He said he wanted to come back, and then they lowballed him in coaching free agency. Tiago Splitter is now the head coach for the Chicago Bulls. The years aren't always reported, but you assume Tiago Splitter's on a 3-year deal because that's sort of par for what happens with free agent coaches. And he's on, by all accounts, a lot more money than it would have been in Portland, because Portland, Tom Dundon, again, 9 months in, he's been the cheapest owner of all time. So they interviewed a few guys. They said Mike Inori, the former assistant for the Minnesota Timberwolves, they go, he's our guy. This is who we want. He's going to be the coach of the future. And they signed him on a 1-year deal with options at each offseason for the next 2 years. So they could just let
Team
him...
options.
Yeah.
Oof.
So they could just let him
Okay.
walk. They could just let him walk in free agency. Well, I mean, coaching free agency. But they could just let him walk and not have to eat his salary whatsoever for each of the next 3 years. And everyone's like, oh, that sucks. Like, this is this guy's first big break. It's his first time coaching an NBA basketball team. And that usually comes with a pay rise. And he's getting a pay rise on top of his assistant coaching salary. But he's starting the season as the cheapest head coach in the NBA.
And he's on the clock.
And he's on the clock, because if it doesn't work out for him on a team with no spacing already, then they can just wave him goodbye in the offseason.
Isn't it crazy, man? The NBA brings in all these rules, and like, if you just have a bad owner, you're cooked. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what the lottery odds are. It doesn't matter what the CBA is.
But Mike Inori might be a good coach as well, and he could just leave and then go somewhere else the following year and be a really good coach.
Yeah, but think about all the people that are trying to prove themselves in Portland this year.
Yeah.
You got contract year, everyone.
God, that's so true. What deal do you want to talk about next?
Oh, I want to talk about... I think I want to talk about LaMelo.
Yep.
LaMelo...
You want to give the particulars? Just kick us off, or?
I would love to, but I just have not scrolled down to them just yet.
LaMelo Ball and Josh Green for Naz Reid, an unprotected 2033 first from Minnesota. First round pick swaps in 28, 29, and 30. That is the second most preferable out of like 3-4 teams in all of them. And then 3 seconds going to the Charlotte Hornets.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the presumption of those pick swaps is like what? All of those picks are going to fall between the 8 to 20 range, and you just get like the 14th pick or something.
Yeah.
So I think the pick swaps are
except that 2033 first. Like, Anthony Edwards could be gone. Yeah.
The 2033 first is probably the most
juicy.
That could be the juiciest piece for Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
But the pick swaps in like It's losing the control of your picks. I think that's the issue for Minnesota. But those pick swaps, I don't think they're going to drop too much. Like, I don't think it's going to be that much of a loss. I think the big issue watching Minnesota last year, potentially the last 2 years, was the creation. And Julius Randle was by far and away the second most important creator on that team. Like, who else would you give the ball to? Mike Conley, but that was really to like get assists and maybe hit the occasional three at the top of the key. Ant is obviously number one. And then what was it? Ayo Dosunmu and...
Jaden McDaniels really showed something last year as a creator with the ball in his hands.
Getting his own shot, but like, God forbid he dribbles the ball over the half court line. And creates for other people. Yeah. In terms of getting the offense humming. So I think he's a huge upgrade on everything that they've had in the last few seasons. He creates he can create for others, he can create for himself. And this is going to be a crazy dynamic shift for the Minnesota Timberwolves. But I really think it'll work. I think Ball and Edwards, in terms of creation, like, that's just such a headache. Like, think what defensive schemes are set up to stop those two guys. And obviously LaMelo has been criticized as a defender. And the jury is, I think, very fairly still out on that. But this is a good opportunity for him to take a half a step back in offensive load and roll, and maybe take half a step forward defensively. And I said this in the group chat, but the last big standing in Minnesota is Rudy Gobert. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. That is crazy. I really like this deal for both teams. Like, let's obviously focus on Minnesota first, because they're the ones mortgaging their future for the third time in 5 seasons. They've given everything they possibly can. Like, these picks are all swapped as part of like the Rudy Gobert deal and other deals. and they've just said, all right, we're going to fall from 14 to 20. Like they're giving each little bit of value that they can, and that 2033 first, this is the off season that first came online, and they're immediately just throwing it away. But for what they had, where it was like they salary dumped Julius Randle, they opened up this trade exception, and they didn't have any avenues to trade for. Like if Donovan Mitchell became available, they wouldn't be able to get him. Like just the next guy who might become available. They're kind of on the clock with Anthony Edwards, who can sign a contract extension in the summer of 2027. And if he doesn't, then it's a bit like, okay, well, he's the next guy. He's going to be the next guy that everyone's zeroing in on. And Brian Windhorst from ESPN had a report that he is the next name that guys are circling, whose name that teams are circling. But this is awesome. You bring in a guy who's the exact same age. They were famously in the same draft class. You go from the first pick in the the third pick, because the Golden State Warriors selected James Wiseman with the second pick. And in the playoffs for at least the second year in a row, we saw that Julius Randle just isn't the second creator on a championship level team, even though they did make the conference finals 2 years in a row. And he's definitely not the defender on a championship team. So you get rid of that guy. They, for what it's worth, have one forward on their roster at the moment, which is a bit of a pickle. But at least you don't have that glaring hole that has to play 30 minutes a night in Julius Randle. Jaden McDaniels sounds like I'm a lot higher on him than you are. I really like him as an offensive creator. But now he's like, LaMelo's a passer first, right? Jaden McDaniels is probably going to be the second scoring threat and option on this team. LaMelo is going to be getting him in better spots. Anthony Edwards can play off the ball a lot more. In transition, Ayo Dosunmu and LaMelo are two of the best transition basketball players in the entire league, and now they share a backcourt together. I really like this. And for the corner that they were crowded into, where all they could offer was this first that's coming online in 48 hours, and Naz Reid, and they got LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
But then the downside is LaMelo Ball had the best season of his career last year. He played in a winning team for the first time of his whole entire career. He was healthy for the first time in multiple years. There are issues with him driving cars around, which is just an extremely questionable question. But yeah, that's why he was available for this lower price. But pretty good considering the hole that they were in just a week ago when they salary dumped Randall, and it's like, oh God, can you get Derek White if they blow it up? This is incredible.
Yeah, and you get LaMelo Ball. McDaniels, I like him. Maybe I misrepresented myself there, but like there's a reason Chris Finch was like giving the ball to Julius Randle over McDaniels. Like McDaniels very much fits well with Ant and the rest of the team on both ends, but it's because of Ant. It's because he can be the third player, and he's great at that, and you need that. But yeah, I think that's where I was coming from with McDaniels.
Also, can I just butt in? Ant was double teamed over and over against San Antonio, and he was passing it out to Jalen Clarks of the world, right?
Yeah.
Now he's going to be passing it out to LaMelo, who is an elite 3-point shooter. He led the league last year in 3-point made.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Him and Con Knipple. True.
Well, hopefully they were 1 and 2.
I believe they were.
That's wild.
Jamie, pull that up. Hopefully,
LaMelo. I've been a huge LaMelo guy since day one.
Yeah.
And I feel like his sort of the off-court view on him, or the view on him, like his personality and what he does when he's not playing and when he's off the court, is like he's this troublemaker. And I feel like that was never really substantiated, but now it might be. I feel like this last year, I'm a bit hazy on the details of his tomfoolery behind the wheel.
Just about in last year, Con led the league with 273 threes. LaMelo had 272. Third place was Luka Doncic at 254.
Wow, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
A far fall from grace from Steph Curry's
311.
Wild.
The also known as Malik Beasley's 312 or whatever. You haven't seen his driving antics? You haven't seen what's going on?
No.
He
crashed his car
multiple times.
Oh, wow.
It's like nighttime speeding through a residential street, and all of a sudden his Lambo's in a pole.
Oh my God.
Which is like not something you do. Like why are you doing that? Yeah.
True. Well, it's interesting we talked about him right after Ja. I can recall that now. Is there one of him in an intersection hitting another car?
Yeah, and also he was in like a camo truck.
Yeah,
it's
true.
really funny.
Yeah, that's why the other bloody driver couldn't see him.
Yeah, that's why he's available, right? Moving on to the Charlotte side, they're selling high. They're selling on a guy who has just played the most games of the past couple of seasons. They were a really good positive, a really good story, and they get a potentially elite pick. They also get a really flexible big man option. This all but takes them out of the running for Domantas Sabonis, but now they've got, I can never remember his actual name, but Moose, like the...
Kalkbrenner?
No, well, they've got Kalkbrenner, actually.
Moussa Diabate.
They've got Moussa Diabate, who they can still play at the 5. Naz Reid can play the 4 and the 5, heaps of positional flexibility. They drafted Hunter Steinbeck, who's like I talked about it on the mock draft, where it's like he might be able to be that next offensive rebounding big man a la Steven Adams, and if not, then he's just a 6'9" big, and you took a swing in the draft. But that's pretty cool. They've got a pretty good big rotation, but they also have more bites at the apple, and the next time an elite big becomes available, the next time someone like, funnily enough, Cat is on the trade market, these guys have 2 first-round picks, one that they got from the Phoenix Suns a couple of days ago in the Miles Bridges trade. They've got another 2033 unprotected first-round pick from Mini. That's plus all of their own future first-round picks and flexibility and cap space to go get that guy.
Yeah, it's very, very sound decision-making from Charlotte. And, like, there's a clear directive, and I think they're hitting it to, like, the whatever the A. They're getting A's on all of these in terms of what they're trying to do. I said this in the chat, but Naz Reid, just the ultimate Charlotte Hornets player. Like I can already imagine him in that uniform. You know when guys get traded and you're like, there's no, I can't see that. But like I can actually imagine him shooting a 3 in front of their bench, and then like the guy going like, oh my god, yes, boom. Who'd they get for Miles Bridges? They got Brooks.
They got Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal.
Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal.
So they lose volume shooting in LaMelo, and they bring 2 volume shooters in.
And like Allen, O'Neal, Reed. Maybe O'Neal's a little bit past it, but far out. Who was he playing for? Was it Brooklyn? Yeah, it was Brooklyn when they had their big 3 and Royce O'Neal was like dropping triple doubles.
Yeah.
So I think he finds a way to be useful, but I think that's kind of he's like the third out of these 3 players with Allen and Reed. Allen and Reed, great shooters. And you have these guys that can be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th players in the rotation. I just think this is really good, like smart, solid decision making.
They re-signed Kobe White in free agency, their own guy, for about just over $20 million a year per year. They drafted Christian Anderson with like the 15th, 16th pick, maybe 17th. They still have Trey Mann. I quite like Trey Mann, and he just couldn't get off the court, couldn't get off the bench last year because of their depth. It's worth having a look at Trey Mann as another just like 3-point bomber, and just like see how much Con and Brandon Miller can do with the ball and how much they can facilitate.
Brandon Miller.
They're definitely again themselves volume shooters, but secondary playmakers. And if someone becomes available, I'll say it again, if someone becomes available who's like a go-to scorer or like a lead ball handler or a big man, they have the sort of cachet to trade for those guys. We've always talked about how difficult the trade market is because if anyone becomes available, you're just going to get outbid by OKC and Utah. But those teams are done now. Like those teams are set. Charlotte might be the number 1 team now if someone becomes available.
Yeah, they're definitely they're in the driver's seat with that. Maybe not this year, maybe like next offseason. Yeah. But who's running this offense in the next year? Like Sexton, that's bad.
Sexton's not there anymore.
White, Kobe White.
Yeah.
I don't know if like he was at Chicago. I can't remember what he was putting up at Chicago, but I feel like it was more on the scoring. It was more on the scoring side of things, and I think that was what I was also going to say, is that it wasn't really like you weren't like, oh, awesome, Kobe White's winning these team games. Yeah,
they don't have a true facilitator. They don't have a true point guard. They've got sort of 3 secondary playmakers in White, Knipple, and Miller.
I've been going through this with the Washington Wizards over the last few years, where you have like all these awesome guys that can be the backup 1, but are really 2s in, Bub Carrington, Trey Johnson. Will Riley was running the point at the end of last season. Keyshawn George can run the offense, but these guys are clearly the players that you bring in to run that second unit or be like, keep applying pressure. And you lose when you do that. You lose when you don't have the table setter. So I don't know. I would say, I do know. I think it'll be a step back for the Hornets in win-loss, but I think, I mean, what would the point guard market be? Who could be that guy that becomes available? Because there seems to be a few on the market this year that are getting shopped around. Morant and Ball, Young.
They could bring back old friend Colin Sexton. They could bring him back.
Oh yeah, but like I mean like who if they're gearing up for a huge trade? You brought up Cat.
True. Okay.
Who could be that guy in a year? Cade's happy. I don't know why he's the first name that came to my mind.
Let's just because I mean we just saw 5 theoretical starting point guards get drafted in the top 10 picks.
Oh yeah.
Let's just wait and see. Like, because if Keaton Wagler, if he turns out good, Darius Garland's available. Let's see if any of those guys stick. Is Tyrese Halliburton as healthy as he was? All of a sudden that thing changed. If De'Aaron Fox is healthy, he's definitely available after how he performed, because Dylan Harper's knocking on the door there. Like, you just sort of have to wait and see. There's no one at the moment.
Yeah, but yeah, I think they've definitely. I mean, even rewind 2 years, 1 year.
Yeah.
This is such a different team. This is such a different. I hate using the O word, but organization. This is a serious team now.
Well, since Plotchnall bought the team 3 years ago, they've just completely changed the team. They've gotten rid of all the bad character guys now. Plotchnall was the 2 guys that bought the team off
like Garpax.
Off Michael Jordan. Yeah, like Garpax. Let's talk about Giannis. We're 30 minutes and 58 seconds into a pod. And we haven't mentioned his name yet. Now this is week-old news. We hit record and then this happened 24 hours, 48 hours after. So let's keep it brief. What do you think about Giannis going to the Miami Heat?
I'm all in. I feel like this is potentially also what the Warriors are doing, but like these teams that have maybe one last crack or a couple last cracks, and they just get the big name, the superstar in, and they just figure the rest out later. I mean, since LeBron was in Miami, since Jimmy Butler was in Miami, the offense you've always like questioned what's it going to look like, how's it going to happen, how they're going to win games, how they're going to score more than 80 points. And like this is just the next evolution of that. Like, who is outside of the 3-point line on this team? How are they going to possibly? And like they will do it. Obviously, they'll do it. Suppose a freak.
But sorry, just butt in that. Like, they're interested in guys like Tim Hardaway Jr. So that honestly, that's who's going to be behind the 3-point line. Yeah, minimum guys.
But yeah, I think like Giannis and Bam. Like, what an awesome defensive pairing, and 2 unbelievable fast break starters. I think it's going to be so fun to watch. Like, it's going to maybe the games themselves won't be fun to watch, but it'll be fun to watch. It'll be fun to watch the teams they play against and like how they approach playing against the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Heat are one of those teams where the value of Tyler Hero, Kyle Ware, Jaime Hackers Jr. and your boy Kasparas Yakashonas.
That's my guy.
Their value on Miami is higher than any other situation. Like Miami just has a habit of making those players better. And now they're not playing next to a Bam, and they're not going to be playing next to Giannis. Like, they're going to be playing next to Kyle Kuzma. So I think the value going out might look bad it actually doesn't look bad on paper. It looks like a ridiculously low deal for Giannis.
I think it definitely got driven up with Jaylen Brown, the Celtics being involved. That pairing those 2 teams against each other, definitely, like, they could have tried to keep at least one of those young players just to fill the rotation spot, really.
Miami.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I don't think they're going to really do anything worth anything in Milwaukee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I know.
Yeah. But yeah, now if anyone can navigate this, it's the Miami Heat.
Yeah. So you mentioned their front court being Bam and Giannis. That is an incredible pairing. Andrew Wiggins, who we said just got re-signed at the start of this episode, he's a good 3-and-D wing. A little bit light on the 3, a lot heavier on the D. Davion Mitchell, John Hollinger, like 3 years ago, wrote that he's one of the best on-ball guard defenders in the whole entire league, but he plays offense like he's being guarded by himself. So, like, at least he can defend, right? And he does. He's super cringe. The old off-day custom jersey he wore in the snow those couple of years ago. They're probably going to lose Norman Powell in free agency. which will really hurt their perimeter creation. And I'm so interested to see which ring chasing veteran wants to come in and fill that spot. Honestly, I think if you were playing the 2 for this team, they would probably still lead the league in defense. That's not that you're a bad defender. I just don't think you're NBA ready, Lucas. But you in a defensive backcourt with Davion Mitchell, and then the three front court guys of Giannis Bam and then Andrew Wiggins. You can paper over Lucas. You can paper over Sean. Like, I reckon Marco could have a run there. Dante probably wouldn't make the cut. Alessio, he's not really a 2. This team can paper over anything. Just how are they going to score? And then we talked about in the playoffs when the San Antonio Spurs were guarding Ant, they would just like cramp down on their spacing and say, "All right, Ant, we're going to double you," and no one can do anything about it. The playoffs are going to be so interesting, where they might even just double everyone inside the paint and say, "Well." We know you're going to have one 3-point shooter. Bam definitely hit a lot more threes last season. He improved as a 3-point shooter, but he's not a volume guy, and his value isn't going to be spacing the floor for Giannis. Like, that's like a Miles Turner role. Bobby Portis is really bad at basketball. He's still in this team, but theoretically he can shoot in 2K, and that's about as far as it goes. Who's got less spacing, this Miami team next season or Portland?
This team.
Yeah?
Portland has a shooter.
You don't like Palo Larson?
I don't actually. But like, if Giannis is cutting down the lane, who's he kicking it out to? If Denny's cutting down the lane, he's kicking it out to Dame.
Dame, yeah.
There is the outlet.
Maybe Miami can trade for Dame and then just reunite the Dame and Giannis pairing. Although he's got a no trade clause.
Goodness, Dame.
Yeah, because he's a small man. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm so happy it finally happened. Although, can you imagine if this happened a couple of years ago? Actually, there was a really good point raised where if Giannis did want to be in Miami, he could have said, "Hey, I only want to go to Miami, and I'm only going to re-sign in Miami. Boston, don't trade for me because I want to go to Miami." But his whole thing was, I want to be in Milwaukee. I'm not requesting a trade. So because of that, Boston got involved, and then these two teams were fighting against each other, and the price was raised so high that Miami lost all of their young prospects. If they still had Kasparas Yakuchonis, I don't think he's going to win them an NBA title, but he could get traded for a reasonable veteran on another team. Like, he could get traded as a prospect, as a value going out, so they could bring in someone who isn't just Tim Hardaway Jr. or Mike Conley in free agency. They could trade for someone who's just a little bit better. And that possibility is completely gone, because you have to keep Palo Larson now because he's a cost-controlled shooting guard and you have none. And everyone else you bring in, their age is going to start with a 3, and sometimes it might even start with a 4.
Man, Dame actually could solve a couple of this team's issues.
Yeah, but he wants to be in Portland, remember?
Oh my god! What are you running from? Dame and Giannis both like so disappointed they got traded away from the places that drafted them.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask. Have you been listening to the Bill Simmons podcast lately?
Not much actually. But I hear it's been popping off.
It actually has been really good. He's had Doc on a couple times. That's Doc Rivers, and he was
not my former housemate Stelio.
And he was talking about Giannis, and Bill was like, "What is the next team gonna get in Giannis?" This is before he got traded, and Doc was like, "Oh, he's gonna be really healthy. He's gonna be ready, and he's gonna be healthy." Because before this season, when Doc was coaching the Bucks, him and Giannis had a conversation, and they agreed like, all right, let's take this season off and get ready for next year. So he was fully spending the whole year preparing for this upcoming season. And then whatever happened with their head coaching situation, and sorry about that, mate. Right. And then Giannis returned and then got re-injured. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, and then they kept him out because they were tanking. They said, we want to improve our pick, and then the Lakers had signed Alex Antetokounmpo, his little brother, and they wanted to break a record. I don't know, it was like the first since the holidays to have like 3 brothers. He wanted to play with his brothers.
Yeah, right.
And then they kept him out, and the situation was very toxic.
Yeah, but sorry, I actually completely. Doc was there the whole time.
Yeah, but I mean, was he?
Mentally, no. He checked out. He checked out bloody last fall. Yeah, I think that's the other part of it, like the bloody heat culture. Everyone's got the lowest body fat percentage they've ever had in their life. And Giannis is like the ultimate athlete, and like Bam is like probably one of the 10 ultimate athletes in the NBA. So yeah, I think it's good. It's just a fun, like, I don't know if I actually think I'd enjoy this less if I was a Miami Heat fan, but being able to watch this from as the fan of another team is really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, let's move on to another team that's just trying to throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks. The Golden State Warriors, whose best player is also, almost starting with a 4. We are involved in chasing LeBron James. You might know him as one of the greatest players of all time. It's LeBron, after he left Cleveland for the second time, he said he's never going to take a discount ever again. And he said, I'm not cheaping out to do anything. I am signing for as much as I possibly can. Now, I don't think he is a max level player anymore. I think he would like to be, but I don't think he is. But what Rich Paul said a couple of weeks ago is that he's looking for the full mid-level exception. So pretty much if you can open up full MLE money, you can sign LeBron James, and obviously he has to choose to go there. He was rumored to go to Cleveland, and he wanted to go back to Cleveland for one last time, and we talked about this, and it was either you or me, or me and Marco talked about what LeBron would be like on an aging Cleveland roster. Cleveland probably can't get below the second apron and open up their full MLE. The Warriors are going to struggle to do that as well. So Draymond Green just declined his $27.7 million player option. You imagine he declined it knowing that he could get at least significant money back, right? Because if you're him, maybe you want the team to win and maybe you're doing the right thing, but giving up $30 million to then sign like the minimum or just like for a $5 million deal, that's a big ask, and I'd love it if he did. I just don't see him doing that. We re-signed Kristaps Porzingis on a 2 for $40 deal. You might know him as playing one game with Steph Curry down the end of the season. The only way that we can open up this cap space is that if we dump Moses Moody, and then KOC had a report that we want to trade for Anthony Davis to entice LeBron James, which is just freaking insane. Does anyone want to take Moses Moody, who just tore his Achilles or tore his ACL and won't play for the whole entire season, and projected to be a backup wing for the rest of his career? And do you want to take that for free? No one's really lining up to do that, so we have to pay them to do that. And if we pay them to do that, we're giving up assets, which we have all of our future first-round picks, but we're doing that to bring in LeBron James, who's turning 42 or 41 this year. Like, I don't know if you know this, but his kid is in the league, right? Like, he's not sticking around. So we're dumping Moses Moody, who's 24, 25, to bring in a 42-year-old for 1 year to have a crack with 38-year-old Steph Curry. We still have to find a way to bring back Draymond Green. And then what? We're going to trade for Anthony Davis, and he's going to have, a little knee injury, and he's going to play 40 games. It's ridiculous.
Bronny is not even a rookie. Bronny will be going into year 3 next year.
Oh, crap. That's crazy.
Also, Bronny shot 39% from 3 last year.
Yeah, and how many attempts, mate?
Not 1.5. It's respectable.
You can start for the Miami Heat.
So was it yesterday that the Warriors are looking for Anthony Davis chatter started?
Yeah, yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, and then they kind of seemed like they moved very rapidly, and then today there is one report that said no tangible movement for Anthony Davis to Golden State talks, and then there is also Warriors cannot currently offer LeBron James mid-level exception. Now, obviously, there's moves you can make, etc. But the prospect of trading Anthony Davis for the Washington Wizards, they're gonna do it. Yeah. It's a matter of when. Is now the time to do it? Is the deal Jimmy Butler and 2 first-round picks from the Warriors? Is the deal 2? Yeah.
No, it's Jimmy Butler and full stop, man.
No. Because the Warriors, the Wizards, why would we do that?
Because Jimmy Butler's expiring at the end of the year, and Anthony Davis doesn't want to be there, and he's just going to kick up a fuss.
You know that top 20 protected pick you gave us for
Chris Paul, Jordan Poole.
Can we get the top 20 part of that?
Yeah. You can change that.
Because we traded the 21 to 30 to Dallas to get Anthony Davis. So could we just get the top 20?
You could even do 10 to 20.
We'll just take the top 20.
Well, I think that's way too high an asking price, especially in a world with flattened lottery odds. We could be the 14th seed in the league and then get the number 1 overall pick with that.
What's the go with?
I don't think Anthony Davis is getting a first round pick, man.
Have you listened to Warriors pods about this? Because the Wizards pods are all saying it's a pick to take Anthony Davis and a pick to take Jimmy Butler, an injured Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I'm not falling myself over to listen to people talk about the Kristaps Porzingis negotiation. There is a lot more interesting stuff going on in the national media. But from what I'm hearing from national guys, God, I sound like a twat saying that. You're not going to get a first round pick. Like, you just traded him. You just traded like a bag of peanuts, really, and a second round pick, just so the protection of that bad pick, just so Dallas can say, well, at least we got first round pick value. He hasn't touched the court. He's an injury risk. He's 6 months older than he was when you traded for him. He's nothing he has done has magically turned him into a real first round pick worth of value.
Okay, but then surely there's no way that you can just take Jimmy Butler for that, though.
But the value for you is that he's a less toxic asset, because you're not seeing a report every week from Brian Windhorst that he doesn't want to be there.
I do like the idea of Jimmy Butler being in AJ DeBance's ear.
Yeah. That is cool. But then also just $56 million come off the books, and then the value for us is that we theoretically get a guy who plays basketball, but we all know he doesn't.
And LeBron.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that the Wizards pods were a bit outrageous with the two picks. They were actually saying unprotected in 2028 and 2032.
I guess this is more of a lesson for listeners. If you're a Wizards fan, don't listen to other pods. Listen to the Wizard of Oz with Lucas Petrus.
Because I was thinking just that top 20, the one that you already, the compromise pick that you traded, whatever. You know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I think 2030.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Butler for AD. Because the other thing is, the Portland were also looking at Anthony Davis. And it was either Drew or Jeremy Grant that would be included in that deal. Mm-hmm. And I think the larger point is that Winger and Dawkins are the decision makers for the Washington Wizards roster. There's just no headlines that come out about them. They move in absolute silence. So the fact that two teams have now been linked to Anthony Davis makes me wonder how many teams are Winger and Dawkins talking to. And I think the thing is, there is going to be a market for him, so you're going to have to make a deal. Obviously, Rich Paul is going to get his way, but like, you're going to have to make a deal that is at least that has some form of value going back to the Wiz.
Yeah, but that could be second round picks. I think you're right about Winger and Dawkins, like cheese and lasagna, but Anthony Davis is represented by the king saber rattler in Rich Paul, and he's going to make as much noise as needed at all. So I wouldn't buy into it too much about like, wow, we've gone from no noise with Will Dawkins to noise. That must mean that where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's a little bit of fire. There must be a giant fire. I think it's just Rich Paul doing what Rich Paul does. Like, I think he still represents Lonnie Walker, and this is the second offseason in a row that Lonnie Walker, there was a report on my freaking phone that he's looking to return to the NBA. And then you look at his EuroLeague stats, and they're actively bad. It's like he's just a noisy agent, and that's it. He doesn't want to be there. He's not going to get his extension. Yeah.
It's like those things. If you have 2 mice in your house, it actually means there's 30. I got a mice problem right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
that's sorry to burst your bub.
Do you think that a deal will be made? Do you think the Warriors will have AD and LB? Yeah.
I don't think the Warriors will. But I think AD, it might even go into the trade deadline.
From the Wiz.
Because the value for Anthony Davis right now is what I think is what it was when he got traded, which is Chris Middleton and 2 second round picks, really. So unless he steps on a basketball court for the Washington Wizards and turns into a really good player for 20 games, which he full well can, right? Like if he's there with AJ DeBanca and Alex Sarr, you could look like like the bright future Wizards, right? And then you just trade him on a high. You trade him in December. You trade him as like a Christmas present to Portland Trailblazers. Yeah. I think he has to do something to up his value. I don't think his value is just going to get inflated, because the Rich Paul of it all, like, he's trying to get LeBron paid, right? He's trying to levy the Warriors potentially getting the MLE to then tell Billy Bob team over there, the Warriors are going to give him the MLE, and to make it more believable with like, well, he's going to sign his best friend in Anthony Davis. Like, it's just too misconstrued, and the Rich Paul of it all, like, I'm not buying it.
So what do you reckon the Warriors will do?
Just We just re-signed Al Horford because he likes living in San Francisco. We just gave him $7 million a year, and his age is also about to start with 40. Like, it doesn't matter, man. We are a bit player. We are a bit player in Adam Silver's NBA. It's just going to be nice. Like, it seriously will be nice to watch Steph Curry play basketball again, just to see him like make some threes. But whatever we do, it's hopefully re-signing D'Anthony Melton. But if you're D'Anthony Melton, do you want to play 36 minutes in a title contending Mini or Miami team, or do you just like also like living in San Francisco? It doesn't matter what we do, man. None of our young players are going to pop. We just drafted a 24-year-old because he can play basketball today. We've said we're not trading Jimmy Butler because we want to have one final swing when he comes back. He's 36, whatever it is. He's coming back after a major knee surgery. None of this is conducive towards making the playoffs. It doesn't matter, bro.
Do you have all your picks though, don't you?
Yeah. Apart from that one that we Horcruxed in the Jordan Poole deal to get Chris Paul, who was bad.
Warriors legend Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Are there any other deals here? What are your thoughts on Jalen Duren?
Let's take a break and then we'll talk about Jalen Duren.
You want to talk WNBA? Maybe some WNBL? Australian Opals chat? Heck, even dabble in some EuroLeague? Find the W Basketball Show on the Deep 2 Podcast Network.
And we are back. Jalen Duren and the Pistons are far apart on talks. Jalen Duren didn't get an extension before the start of the season, came out and had an all-NBA level regular season, and then failed to capitalize against Wendell Carter Jr., Jarrett Allen, and just generally guys that he should be much better than, and that seriously depressed his value. I think if the playoffs don't happen and this is the English Premier League and they just finish the regular season with the whoever's on top wins the title, I think Jalen Duren's getting $30+ million, no questions asked, and he's going to come back to the Pistons. But his value is deeply depressed. And because he's far apart on talks with the Pistons, he's speaking to other teams to work out a sign and trade. And if the sign and trades don't work, then he can just sign his 1-year qualifying offer, have no trade clause, and then be an unrestricted free agent in the following offseason. But the two teams he met with today are the Sacramento Kings, and that would be on a deal focused around Domantas Sabonis going back to the Detroit Pistons, and the LA Lakers. It was interesting. He had a meeting with the Kings and a call with the Lakers. So I feel like if the Lakers were serious, you would meet with him. The Lakers package is based around DeAndre Ayton, who opted into his $8 million player option this morning, and just giving the Pistons salary relief because the Lakers have quite a lot of cap space.
I mean, also, Sacramento and Los Angeles are infamously like very close to one another, so you could have made something work.
Yeah,
it was very easily met him.
It was very weird.
It's weird. It feels like it's going to be a win-win and a lose-lose for Duren and the Pistons. Like, isn't that crazy? He's probably not going to be on the team next year. He was like their center. It was oh cool, our center is sorted.
Yeah, this could be like a negotiating tactic.
Yeah.
Like, Andre Iguodala met with the Kings in like 2016 to be like, hey Warriors, give me a little bit more money. Like the Kings are forever going to be the leverage play.
Yeah, I mean, I think that might have already done that a few times. Yeah. I know the Nets with the leverage play for Trae Young, and I think there is a couple of other teams.
You're dreaming.
No, there was.
I know. Are you over? We don't have to talk about this because you talked about it on the was, but you overpaid the frick out of Trae Young.
Yeah.
If there was a sign and trade offer, why don't you just take it or decline it? That does. If someone wants to pay Trae Young $50 million,
I don't think the issue with our roster and cap sheet is Trae Young. I think it's Anthony Davis. And I think
it will be Trae Young though.
But let's just say, for argument's sake, we trade Anthony Davis for Drew Holiday and Jeremy Grant. And we had two vets on $30 million contracts. And then the cap sheet is Trae on 50, vets on 30, rookie contracts.
Yeah.
That the whole ecosystem is much more that's fine. But I think the issue is invisible, and it starts with Anthony Davis.
Nah, the issue is years for Trae.
The fourth year is the issue.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And the third year.
Nah, the third year is okay. We're paying guys in the first, and I think we're pretty much good this year. And then No, I'm actually not at all perturbed by the situation that we're in. And like, I mean, going back to the playmaking and creation, Trey is like so far beyond anything that we've had. And Bub, Trey Johnson, Keyshawn, they all get to be backup point guards now, rather than taking turns being the creator against other teams' starting lineups. But who are we talking about? Why
not $40 million? All right, Jalen Duren.
Because the Nets gave him 45.
Leakage, yeah.
Jalen Duren. This feels like a year too late for the Lakers. This feels like Mark Williams 2.0.
Why is that? Why do you reckon it's a year too late?
Well,
like LeBron's off the books. He's $47 million off the books, and Luka Doncic says, "I want a center."
No, you're actually right. I was actually just thinking about LeBron. You see, this is bloody Rich Paul putting two brothers against each other. No, yeah, actually, it makes a lot more sense now. The Kings, I don't get that at all. Like, I mean, bargaining chip for Duren.
I think they just want basketball players. Like, they signed Dennis Schroeder last year.
Levine, DeRozan, Westbrook, like those are definitely basketball players. But yeah, if Durant, I mean, sign and trade with Sabonis, is that what it was? I mean, if you thought losing in the 2026 playoffs was bad for the Pistons, wait for the 2027 playoffs.
Yeah.
That can't happen. I don't know. Like, how could you possibly do that as the Pistons, who also lost Isaiah Stewart this off-season?
Yeah,
like
three seconds to Memphis.
This is
Paul Reed's the answer to your question.
This is Timberwolves East, where it's like the last big standing in Detroit is Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah, but it's also a bit like the Wolves, where it's like, oh well, you're buying into, you're gonna put your young up and coming All NBA guy, potential MVP, with aging stars around him, where it's like, oh, because Anthony Edwards is ready today. Here's Rudy Gobert, and here's Mike Conley. What's the rush?
Yeah, I also do it right. Like, I feel like the Thunder with Shea, there was like a year there, or maybe even two, where it was like, man, this team sucks balls, but now they're the best team in the league. And they did wait, and luckily Shea kind of bought into that waiting a little bit.
Yeah. He really took a year off in his prime.
Yeah. I mean, and like, it's paying dividends. I mean, you don't want stars to sit, you don't want tanking, but the Oklahoma City Thunder are the best team in the NBA because of both of those things.
Yeah.
Okay. Jalen Duren, I like the thought of him on the Lakers. That's a real Reeves, Doncic, Duren. That's a fun. Those are fun building blocks. They also complement each other really well. But yeah, if you were to end up on the Kings, wouldn't that suck? Like, this guy seems like the next like, he's such an old school big. Like, he's such a I feel like athletes come into the NBA because they're also so much younger now, but like so far from being prepared. And he's just like he's
huge guy.
Yeah, he's huge. He's like in the middle of his peak physique at however old he is. So yeah, and it would be like such a player that the Lakers haven't had over since when, man?
Yeah,
since Dwight Howard.
Yeah, you just get a center for the next 5 years. He's not going to be the most skilled, the best center in the league, but you've just got no questions about what he does. And he's hopefully strong enough where if what he does is just be a good defender, he doesn't have that prime Rudy Gobert weakness where he can't bully his matchup, because he just eats people on the offensive glass.
He'll crush people on screens. He'll finish lobs, and Doncic will find him on lobs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Oh, I've just ended the pod. What have I done here? I can't hear you. Sean!
The NBA moves so quickly these days, it's hard to keep up. Shams and Woj are breaking stories left and right, but the Quick Time Out is right there with them to keep you informed on the latest NBA news. Stop in and let us break it down as it happens. Find the Quick Time Out on the Deep 2 Podcast Network. And we are back after some minor technical difficulties. I was going to talk a little bit about Isaiah Joe getting dumped to the Detroit Pistons, and that was going to tie us nicely into some of the other teams making moves this offseason, particularly the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have had to salary dump Andrew Wiggins as well. That's a real damn crying shame. Aaron, sorry. But no one wants to hear that. So let's just scroll through the news to wrap up this pod. We will get to the team that you want to talk about, but Kawhi Leonard, the LA Clippers are shopping him. Some teams that have been mentioned in like the past 6 months include the Golden State Warriors, But more recently, the Toronto Raptors, San Antonio Spurs, and full stop. San Antonio Spurs, that stuff sort of died down a little bit, and apparently they are really zeroing in on sending in... Oh, sorry, Dallas Mavericks. That was before the full stop. Masai Ujiri sort of... Yeah, I really hope they don't do that. They are not on the same timeline. But the team that they have had extended conversations with is the Toronto Raptors, with a deal based around RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett for Kawhi Leonard plus however many picks you need to give up for an aging veteran in Kawhi Leonard. He's got a 1-year deal and says here role environmental activist. Is escaping the country and moving to Canada part of him escaping all legal issues?
Oh no, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
But he wouldn't be liable, would he?
No. What do you think about Kawhi Leonard, Toronto Raptors speculation?
I mean, first of all, history lesson. Everyone saw it, but like the Raptors ring that season from Kawhi, that was the coolest I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
He was a 1-year rental, and then just like he had one of the best seasons, one of the best, probably the best single player postseason I've ever seen. With the Raptors that year, just his ability to like continually win them games. I've never seen anything like that before. I think people will probably think of Dirk with the Mavericks in 2011, but that was completely different. The team around Dirk was so much better than the team around Kawhi, and both those teams were good. They won rings, obviously, but yeah, isn't it crazy? He spent 1 season there, and still like it felt like he left such a longer, like it felt like he was there for 5 years.
Well, he has, like banners fly forever, even if the other team has 2 major injuries to their knees while it happens.
Yeah, banners fly forever. Yeah. The return to Toronto, isn't this what a weird, like it started and ended with wing. It started with Kawhi. They then were the team constantly with a depth chart of 10, 6'7" to 6'9" wings. And now he goes there to like kind of put a full stop on all that. I don't know. I don't really get it. I mean, I understand the Raptors are kind of in that morass of randomness, and then he would be the actual star. But of the teams that you mentioned, I would so much rather see. I mean, that's crazy. 2 of those teams are returns. Return to the Spurs or return to the Raptors. I'd much rather see him with San Antonio. Yeah. I don't think I'd really care to see him too much at Dallas.
Yeah. That'd be weird.
And what would it be like? RJ Barrett and a pick. 3 picks.
No, not 3. It'll be a pick. I think he's just too old. Like he's 34 years old, but he did have a kind of career year last year. And he was turning into like a real, like he's always been a low post operator, but he was like dump him the ball. Everyone thinks based around him, and it's like he's obviously a real cerebral player. So it's just swing. I don't know what the trade would look like really. Like you don't want to give up any promising young players, but also on that team, Toronto would have 3 power forwards who all need the ball in their hands and operate, best in post areas, right? So Scotty Barnes obviously like plays across the whole entire court, but he's also good in the post. And then Brandon Ingram is just like a much worse version of everything Kawhi Leonard does.
Yeah, but that's also been the issue for them the last few years. That's nothing new.
True.
It'd be interesting to see how RJ Barrett would go in
Benedict Matherin's shoes
in a team coached by Tyronn Lue. Like, would that not be? He's now fallen into that class of player like D'Angelo Russell, who's past that, and who was the other? And Jordan Poole, where their career is just getting traded and just finding the team that wants to kind of take the risk of bringing them in. Yeah, and I think I would say if he were to get moved again to the Clippers, then that would be. Then I think he's entered that phase of his career. But I also think that he could have a great season under Tyronn Lue, and they could trade him eventually. And I think that'd be a great asset play. What if
he just like spiritually plays the 4 and he's like minus shooting, like low volume 3-pointers just don't matter that much. What if that's where he is and they build the team around him, like
build it around Barrett,
as in build around Barrett's flaws, but obviously you've got lots of creators.
Yeah, I mean, they could do that. What are the Clippers doing? What are the Clippers doing next year?
So it says here, Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, and draft capital. So
well, you didn't say Dick.
No, I didn't. That's all right. I guess moving on from Brandon Ingram to get the better version, but yeah, you're significantly increasing the age of your roster. I like another rumor, if you want to move on, another rumor that the Raptors were involved in was somehow getting Miles Turner and acting as like a fire sale in Milwaukee. But their deal that they signed, Jakob Poeltl, was just nearly untradeable. They would have to give maybe 2 first-round picks and then maybe one more to bring in Miles Turner, who is 30 or 31. But that would solve some of their problem. That would go steps in alleviating some of their spacing problems.
He is a Toronto Raptors-y player as well.
Yeah.
I was going to say this before when you brought up Isaiah Joe going to the Pistons. It just doesn't it feel like he's already there? Like he's such a. I always imagine him playing for the Detroit Pistons. Why is that? Isaiah Thomas. I guess someone would have had the last name Joe.
Yeah,
Mr.
mate.
There was also Isaiah Ryder in the early 2000s and the 1990s. He didn't play for the Pistons though.
Do you want to talk about the Chicago Bulls for some reason?
Yeah, why did I want to? Oh yeah, because they profited off of that Julius Randle trade. We haven't even talked about the Randle trade.
Yeah, well,
they got Nick Claxton in all of that. This is why I wanted to talk about him, because I think they're kind of running in parallel with the Charlotte Hornets, but I feel like the Charlotte Hornets are much more well run, and the Bulls have kind of, I would say, gotten kind of lucky.
The Bulls have just started it though, right? Like the Bulls, the Charlotte's been this new regime for 3 years. The Bulls, this is their first year with a new GM.
Yeah, but like even still, they would just run so poor. Yeah, that's fair, but the I don't know. It just feels like they are in a much better position than they were last year, and all their I don't know if like how many of their liabilities are still really there.
I think there's quite a few.
But
like Josh Giddey, $25 million a year, 4 years.
That's fine.
Yeah, but what's his role on a championship team? Second creator.
Yeah, but like
they're not deep flaws.
They're not in their championship window yet. But I mean more like they got into that top 4. I think if the franchise didn't deserve one of those top 4 players, it was the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, okay.
Then
they're about to clear house. Yeah.
Then they got a starting center for the future in Nick Claxton, and however many 10, 12 guards they were sifting through, and they've ended up with none of them, it seems. They've had Jaden Ivey on their roster last year.
Yeah.
Think about how bad it was 6 months ago. And they're in such a salvageable position now.
Yeah, I guess there's also the GM isn't someone who wants to trade for and re-sign Nikola Vucevic.
Yeah,
you've just got a guy who's okay, I've made the Kobe White trade. I'm just accumulating players. It doesn't matter. We're going to tank the hell out of the second half of the season. Don't start a center. Yeah, it's definitely a step in the right direction, but they are 2 years away from the Charlotte Hornets level.
2 years away from being 2 years away.
Yeah.
I feel like also Giddey's contract, these numbers, when you say the number, it seems bad, obviously, but that's 15% of the cap.
Okay.
That's fine.
True. Trae Young is getting paid $50 million.
30% of the cap.
Yeah.
You'd want that to be 25%, but it's 30.
Yeah.
And also you can go over the cap.
Yeah.
I had one more thing to add. When you said Vucevic, it reminded me, I learned how to pronounce the third string center for the Washington.
Can I guess it?
Yeah.
Tristan Vucevic?
Vucevic.
Ah.
It's
same.
It's very rare to have the K before the ch, the first ch. And far out, I actually immediately forgot this, but he was from a Balkan country and then also German. And then he also has German roots. And I can't remember when those wires got crossed, but obviously it would have been someone with the last name Vucevic, whose family went to Germany at some point, and then their name would have turned to Vukcevic. Which is, right. That's, if you're thinking of Balkan names, there's no way that would be that wouldn't be fully Balkan. That has been infiltrated. And it's the Germans, as per.
The Denver Nuggets are looking to shed salary, and everyone's on the table apart from Nikola Jokic. That was reported right after they were eliminated, and it was confirmed in a report last week that says that they were shopping Aaron Gordon with the goal of saving money. They were also shopping Cam Johnson with the goal of dumping him, and they would like to move on from Christian Brown. If they could do that to one of those players, they will then be able to re-sign Peyton Watson. It is worth noting that they can still re-sign Peyton Watson and pay the tax and give him a fair amount of money, but they don't want to do that because that involves paying the tax, which is something that they don't want to do. There was a report this morning that the offers have been underwhelming to the Denver Nuggets front office for Aaron Gordon. They're valuing him higher than other people. That checks out. He has had some scary injuries and hasn't been available, and his hamstring is always not 100%, and I think he's 31 or 32 years old now, so that completely checks out. They have used his prime, and you're trying to sell a guy who you've just extended. The Jamal Murray of it all is very interesting. I can't imagine they're going to get anyone back as good a fit or just as good a player as Jamal Murray if you were to trade Jamal Murray. And it is extremely sad just to think what might happen to the rest of Nikola Jokic's prime. And if he wants to retire early, I would probably not be mad at him.
Maybe that's actually what is going to happen.
Well,
maybe that's what the Nuggets know that we don't.
He said he's waiting until he becomes Supermax eligible next offseason, the summer of 2027, and then he can sign Shea Gilgeous level deal where it's like $60 to $70 million a year. But then he has to be in the NBA for 5 more years with the cheapest front office ever. It just sucks that they're cheap.
They just got Curtis Jones on a 2-way, who spent his time at Iowa State with the Cyclones, Buffalo, and the Indian Hills Community College.
Is Curtis Jones no relation to Spencer Jones, who they're going to lose in free agency because they don't want to pay him?
No, but he's related to what's the guy's name? Oh no, Curtis Blair.
He's related to Curtis Blair. Curtis Jones is. Yeah. Go on.
Well, I think you're going to chuck a promo on this potty, so I don't want to say what I think about the Denver Nuggets.
What's the promo?
Like a promo.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to swear. Have you noticed I've been running down when you're swearing?
Oh, no, that's when you've been swearing. Freaking potty mouth. Nah, the Denver Nuggets can go bleep themselves. Could you imagine having Nikola Jokic on your team?
And not maximising it, yeah, it'd be
just
insane.
Spend everything, every last penny. Find different places to spend money from.
Walker Kessler, speaking of not wanting to spend money, the Utah Jazz are trying to keep him and Keontae George's salary, I think it's below $60 million combined, so they can have max cap space, or they can have significant cap space to go free agent shopping in next offseason. Mm-hmm. And that is, who's copping the pinch? The players. And Walker Kessler is not happy with his deal, but he is a year behind where Jalen Duren is in terms of an extension or eventually considering the qualifying offer. I think they should do what they can to keep Walker Kessler on the team. I think he's really good. And if he's 24 years old, and I'm wrong. He could be a free agent this offseason. He could take the qualifying offer. I feel like just pay him. I think, you might want to look at this team and say, hey, what do we have? What do we have with Walker Kessler, Jaren Jackson Jr., just seeing everyone healthy, but I don't know.
Trivia time, Sean.
Yep.
The Chicago Bulls last season had 17 guys on the roster average 9 points or more.
Whoa.
First question of trivia. Of those 17 players, who played the most games and how many?
For the Bulls, or who played the most games?
Who played the most games for the Bulls?
So it's not going to be like Anthony Simons, because he played half the season for the Celtics. Mm-hmm. So
let me give you a hint. This guy was...
Patrick Williams.
It was Matas Buzelis, played 77 games. Then you got Trey Jones, who was next highest at 65. Then you have Isaac Okoro, who brought in the rear on 63. And then the rest of the players, you actually just can't believe how many players they had.
No, I can't. So
for less than 55 games.
Like Leonard Miller.
That played for less than 55 games. Leonard Miller is one of those players.
I really like him. I think he's going to go back to the Bulls in free agency, but I think if he hasn't already, but he was a good defender in the second half of the season.
Yeah, that matters a lot as well.
3-and-D
Great
power
name
forward,
as well.
Leonard Miller.
Yeah.
Sounds like he should be playing the guitar.
Yeah.
Not
or
for
Catan.
not for the Bulls.
But that's just wild. Like I can't believe that many players average that many. Like I can't believe how many players made their way through Chicago last year.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous to look at.
All right, I'm just going to read some reports as we wrap up this pod. Julian Champagny, Spurs 3 for 45. They used the mid-level exception on him.
Yeah, he started hitting threes at the end of the playoffs, which was very important.
Right after you after you called him out.
That's the last time I was on here. Mr. 3 of 20, Champagne.
True. Landry Shamet 4 for 24. We touched on it at the start.
That's unbelievable value.
Clippers pick up the option on Brook Lopez for $9.2 million as he enters his 37-year-old season. They decline options on Bogdan Bogdanovic and Nicholas Batum. Thunder pick up $17.7 million option on Lou Dort, pushing the can down the road 1 year. What do you think about that?
To trade him eventually?
To keep him and then let him walk in free agency if it doesn't work out.
Well, why didn't they trade him?
Because they just gave away Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe for nothing.
Oh, true. How much did they save on those two guys?
Aaron was about 7 to 9 mil and Isaiah Joe was $11 million.
Okay, the Lou Dort money.
Yeah.
Would you rather...
Sorry, that's exactly Lou Dort's money.
Why didn't they keep the other two?
Because that's a very good question. That was going to be one of their intersections, but Shea wanted to keep. He said in his exit interview he hopes that his fellow Canadian comes back in free agency. So he wanted Isaiah Hartenstein and Lou Dort back. So the team chose Lou Dort ahead of the other two.
That's bad. That's usually the beginning of the end.
Yeah, but there's one end decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then next year they'll have the same decision to face with letting Alex Caruso walk and maybe getting a year ahead of his potential drop-off. And
potentially.
Do you keep Lou Dort? Lou Dort was literally the Tabo Cephalosha after Tabo Cephalosha.
He was, correct me if I'm wrong, but catastrophically bad in the playoffs this most previous season.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He was definitely, I would say he was the third best of him, Aaron Wiggins, and Isaiah Joe.
Isaiah Joe didn't get off the bench, and they didn't get off the bench.
Who am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Cason Wallace.
Yeah, Cason Wallace is incredible, but you're AJ Mitchell as well as who you're thinking of.
I actually definitely wasn't.
The Thunder decline.
Did you ever answer the question of would you prefer Cason Wallace or Green Cason Wallace? Did you not see that meme?
No.
No.
Where he's like they made him green. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Well, Walker Kessler, according to Tony Jones of The Athletic, to meet with other teams this week. Yusuf Nurkic, Jazz, 2-year 22.
Okay.
As a backup or Walker Kessler insurance, that definitely isn't good insurance.
Wait, they've signed Nurkic.
Yeah, well, they re-signed him because he got traded there for Colin Sexton.
God, because there was worry that he might end up on the Wizards. Nurkic.
The Suns re-signed everyone. Colin Gillespie 4 for 48, and Mark Williams. It doesn't matter. He's going to get injured next season. He's only had one healthy year. He loves a healthy year and then a extension. Bradley Beal, free agent, declines his $5.6 million option with the Clippers.
5 point what?
6.
5.6. What the hell? Wasn't it 60? 60
no, is he still getting paid by you? No, he's still getting paid by the Suns. He's still getting paid by the Suns.
Oh my god!
But now he can sign with the Warriors if we need a another old guy,
an old head. Wow, that's wild.
What else we got on this bloody idiot box here? Oh, the Marcus Smart declining his option, and 2 reports from different guys saying he's going to sign in Houston once free agency opens.
Yeah, that's huge. What about Jameer Watkins likely retaining, staying with the Wizards?
Yes, the natural closing point of every podcast. I can't say I've watched Jameer Watkins play basketball, man.
Yeah, apparently, it's exactly what you said about Leonard Miller.
Yeah,
it's awesome. The guy was good at defending and shooting in February.
Man, I've already made the thumbnail for this pod, and in the thumbnail was...
You got Jameer Watkins.
No, I've got Jaylen Brown as someone who got mentioned after Jameer Watkins. Where do you want Jaylen Brown to go? Because apparently the relationship is beyond repair. So where would you like to see him go?
Well, this is going to sound crazy, but I actually would love to see him at the Washington Wizards.
Wow, this is a new Lucas.
I was hoping that of the much like the Portland Trailblazers just finding whoever's on the market when they want to compete, I was hoping that we'd get one of these wings. You know, there's the Trey Murphy wants out. There's the Jaylen Brown wants out.
Trey Murphy would be awesome for you.
Yeah, he'd be. You know, I honestly think he's harder to get than Brown.
Yeah, which is weird.
I just think there's more people that want Trey Murphy. And Kawhi Leonard wants out. You know, if Jimmy Butler was healthy and we took a 1-year rental, that would be awesome. I'd be all about that.
To like recoup his value and then trade him off, or
just have him on opening night. Imagine the starting. Like this is the thing. Imagine the starting lineup with Anthony Davis or Jimmy Butler or Kawhi Leonard or Trey Murphy. Let's just take those 4 players for whatever reason, put them in the 4, and then just whoever that player ends up being. If you just completely take them out of the team, that sucks. That makes the starting lineup so much weaker.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, what are we talking about, man? Like, in terms of enjoyability, would you like 4 like aging superstars on your team? Yeah, but like, what's the point? I think you need to focus a little bit more on the future.
Yeah, but like what? And do what?
Just enjoy AJ DeBunce's rookie season. I can't believe you already have a point guard with him for the future, right? The Spurs thought they had that with their AJ DeBunce, and it was De'Aaron Fox. But guys just are there. Like, oh, hang on, you get the second pick, and you draft Dylan Harper. All of a sudden he's there. Just hold on a little bit.
I was, yeah, but like, okay, what about Trigger Trey on like 25 mil or whatever he's on?
Yeah. If you can get him, because he projects to be like a good 3-and-D role player who can be there for AJ DeBunce's prime and could just interchange at forward positions with him. But he's not taking the ball out of his hands, right? He's not taking the ball out of your potential best player's hands. Like,
true.
Just wait a bit, right?
True. I guess the only other real destination for Jaylen Brown, which is amazingly who we're actually talking about right now, is Portland.
Yeah.
That's really the only team that...
What about the Warriors?
What are you doing? How would you get him?
Jimmy Butler and heaps of picks.
But why would the Celtics do that? I feel like
True,
Celtics are trying to win.
I forget the Celtics. Yeah. The myth of consent. Is there someone you forgot to ask?
Oh my god!
No, remember the meme? I guess that sounds horrible, but you remember the meme where that was the text, and then it was like, "Hi, I want to trade for Bradley Beal. Is there someone you forgot to ask?" And it was like his no trade clause.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I only know the meme of Case and Mullis or Green. Case and Mullis.
I'll put that in the next funny dump.
That's the big thing with the Celtics is that they want to continue competing while losing Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
So
really hard to do, I reckon.
Well, because the Blazers could give Drew, and that's actually kind of it now, isn't it?
Shaden Sharp is getting paid a lot of money.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's hard to. I mean, like, would you reroute Shaden Sharp to a third team? Maybe the Pelicans and it's Trey Murphy for Jaylen Brown.
Yeah. Well, that was the other one that got suggested: Trey Murphy, Jordan Poole, and 3 picks or whatever.
You can't put Jordan Poole on that. I'd rather, if I'm the Celtics, I'd rather DeJounte Murray before I get Jordan Poole.
You'd rather Shaden Sharp.
No, I'd rather DeJounte Murray before I get Jordan Poole.
So I think that's the tough thing with the Celtics trading Brown is like who they're getting. It's really hard to find what that trade is.
Yeah. Well, Lucas, we've fulfilled our thumbnail contractual obligations to talk about Jaylen Brown. I mean, I only wrote JB in the thumbnail, so we could talk about anyone like Justin Timberlake.
Oh, true. Justin.
Did you like that
Timberlake.
new thing I got on the wall? How funny.
Oh my god.
I love JT.
Are they the actual original CDs for My Love and Rock Your Body?
Who knows?
His middle name's Randall? What the hell?
I haven't actually read that. I just put it on the wall. Justin Randall Timberlake.
He was born in 81. He was born 3 years before LeBron. Well, technically...
Tell him JT's still doing it.
Nearly 4. That's it. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
He's 45.
You're so good at dates and numbers. All right, Lucas, I'll speak to you next time.
See ya.